Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady, viewing at home. It's kinetic aesthetic time, and the day is Tuesday, so y'all already know what's up. It's time for sports talk. I'm not here alone. You already know what is good. I've got my man Cam here. Cam, say what's up.
What's up, everybody?
Y'all already know the deal, so we are going to have a little bit of a time right now to chat with y'all about all the happening in the sports world right now. We've got some basketball news. I'm going to be covering a little bit of World Cup news action for the first time. And I'm just ready to get into it. So I'm not going to do much else aside from tell y'all to like, follow, subscribe on whatever platform that you are watching us on. If it's on YouTube, make sure you also hype up the video, boost us in that algorithm, but just do something to spread the word of kinetic aesthetic. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to start with the NBA news. A lot of dominoes have fallen. We've had Jaylen Brown be traded to Philly. We've had pretty much every other big name star in the league at this point.
Walker Kessler going to the Lakers,
Right.
looking like the
Kessler.
1952 Minnesota Lakers. If you know, you know.
We've had it all happen except for LeBron and where he's going to go. Now, we've seen the Rich Paul stuff of him having the whiteboard of all these different teams, having basically everybody that was either a contender or is viable on that list. I mean, at this point, Cam, I'm gonna turn it over to you after I ask this. Aside from Philly, because they do have a roster already that I think is contender ready. Is there really anybody that LeBron, even though he's going to be good at his old age, that he's going to make a difference or he's really going to help put somebody over the top aside from New York or San Antonio? Because the way I'm looking at it, I've thought about it a lot. If he's trying to really just win a championship, at this point, you either have to be going to New York because I feel like, especially with Mitch Robinson being gone, they have a room for him now. Just like in
They
terms
would
of,
have to probably give up Mikal Bridges if they're going to do so, though. And would that break up the team chemistry and actually make your team better if you were to do that?
if you have to give up, okay, with that in mind, if you have to give up anybody else or to make it work for LeBron, then no. Because I
You would have to for cap space and just usage purposes. Like you would not be able to keep everybody.
take the Knicks off.
Like they let Mitch go for salary purposes, and Mitchell Robinson's salary wasn't even that high.
That's true. That's true. I I guess maybe if he was, and I'm saying like I would think he would have to do the vet minimum potentially, something like that. I know he said he wouldn't, but I get it. But like, I mean, like if you really want to win a title at this point, if you really want to get ring number 5 to just sort of to make that happen, that's where you go. It's one of those 3 spots. Same thing with Philly. But I'm gonna turn it over to
I would
you.
like I would just say I'd like to point out LeBron said he wanted to be happy. Okay, I don't think being on the vet minimum in New York would make LeBron happy. I'm not LeBron James. I'm not LeBron James in mind. I don't know LeBron James personally. None of that. I'm just saying, you go from being like you go from being the best player in the NBA for 2 decades, arguably, right? There are debates, but let's be real here. There have been spots where people have been better, but for the overall these 2 decades, he's been in the top three, if not the best player in the NBA. And you plan to go to New York with James Dolan, who does not let Charles Oakley into Madison Square Garden for a game, who James Dolan said he will not go into the second apron. Knowing LeBron's contract, would you willingly go to the New York Knicks? Because I don't think that would make LeBron happy. Like playing in the Garden for him would probably be cool, but he's like, okay, I've done that enough over my 20 years. I probably have half a season's worth of games in the Garden. I don't know if I need to go there. And he's not going to San Antonio either, because like they would have to give up Dylan Harper or Vassell or Castle or some combination thereof. Well, like in order to make the salaries work, because you think like LeBron James is on. I don't think he's on a max salary. I think he has like a 3,180 with a at or no, he's a sort of extension is what he's looking for. Maybe a 2/120 deal going on. That sounds right. I may be very off.
I remember just looking at this, and I know he had some type of extension he signed. I remember just looking
He,
at the picture of
yeah,
him with Palenka and everything.
he's extension eligible. Uh, and all of that. So that also has to play into like whoever signs him has to be willing to sign him for 1 to 2 years post this year. Whether regardless of what LeBron plans on doing or not, or if he knows he's going to retire in the next year or two or not, right? So you have to have the cap space for that. You have to have a team construction that is conducive to LeBron James at 41 years old. That is different from a team conception around LeBron James at 22 years old or 31 years old, right? Certain things just need to be in place. For example, LeBron James needs a very good, if not elite, front court big man defender that he can funnel to. Because LeBron James is, at this age is a great team defender. He is not a lockdown individual defender as he had been in his previous years. So you have to have someone who can cover up for those deficiencies. Now, LeBron James's basketball IQ was one of the best in human history. Let's just be very honest with that. On the offensive and defensive side of the ball. So he's never going to be bad defensively. Some plays may look bad, but that's besides the point. So New York is out. OKC is out. The Spurs are out. I'm going to say the Celtics are probably out.
Think,
Minnesota's probably out.
okay, okay. See, the thing with Minnesota, and the reason why I would keep them in is that I think that I don't know, I do feel like LeBron really does want one more ring. And I think that when Rich Paul said, there was one quote that Rich Paul said during that little interview, or I can't remember which one it was, but he said if New York had not won the title this year, LeBron would already be a Knick.
Mm.
He wants to go somewhere where he can help win a title that is going to undoubtedly help with his legacy and with his resume. He does desire that. That's why
But he doesn't need that though. Like no, like and I hate to break it to him, like no, a sixth, seventh championship would not put him above Michael Jordan in certain people's
it's not
eyes.
it, but again, that's what he's chasing. I'm not telling you that it makes sense to me. I understand what you're saying, but the simple fact of the matter is he's still LeBron James. It doesn't matter. He can talk he knows he's the GOAT. I know that I'm this and I'm that after I did what I did in 2016 or whenever he feels like he is stamped on it, but he knows that he wants to shut up any doubt, any question. He knows he's in a unique position. That's why I do feel like he's
That's
going
true.
Minnesota, places that he can really go somewhere that haven't won. Especially like I know people talk about Cleveland and all the deficiencies they have and everything like that. If he probably still feels like he can go somewhere and like just make somebody a winner. He might feel like maybe I'm the guy who can go back to Cleveland and turn Donovan Mitchell and getting James Harden a ring.
If he turned, I saw somebody, and I'm so sorry I don't remember this person's name, but shout out to them. You know who you are if you tweeted this. Someone said if LeBron James goes to Cleveland and make James Harden the playoff riser, that may put him over Jordan.
I think I saw that tweet too. I don't so it's like I really do. That's what I keep having to throw that variable in. Because there's places where, like Minnesota, I know, and it would still be Ant-Man's team, to be honest with you. That's still,
But also, there's not enough ball. Like there's literally not enough ball to go around for those three people because they're all pretty ball dominant players at this stage in their careers. Like LeBron James aiding like slamming down lobs like him and Wade were doing in 2011, 12, and 13, where you could feel LeBron James just loading up to like that's not who he is right now. So like so we were talking about like, oh, who's gonna get the most touches between LaMelo and Ant, just the two of them. Now you have to think about LaMelo, Ant, and LeBron.
it's
Like I understand where you're going with it. I just don't. I just from a pure basketball standpoint, how does that even work? I know, like, people are like it's LeBron James. Anything could work. I'm like, yes, but no. Like,
but see, here's my thing. I don't necessarily think that a lot of these places are going to work. He goes to Minnesota. I don't think he puts them over the top. He goes to
he's not
pretty
good enough
much
defensively right now to do that.
right. If he goes to pretty much anywhere except Philly, I don't know how he would actually be like an X factor potentially.
Did you see that there's a rumor that the 76ers are going to offload Joel Embiid to sign LeBron? That is a rumor. I have no confirmation of where that source comes from or if it is legitimate, but it's something I have heard.
I have not read that. I don't like that idea because listen, I don't know exactly how long Embiid has left. I feel
It's so
like
sad to think about, but please continue.
but I definitely still feel like I know LeBron has at least 2. At least 2. I'm thinking
If he
right,
wants to, he has it for
probably
sure.
just has 1. So with that being said, I really don't know because Joel Embiid, he might have 1, the nigga might have 3 or 4. And if
No one knows. He doesn't even know, probably, to be completely honest with you.
but I would much rather go with the 3 or 4. He's much more tied to your team's identity. I I don't like that. I just don't like the idea. See, that's another thing. I don't like the idea of LeBron going to any of these teams if they have to necessarily change too much of who they are to get him.
That's what teams do. They capitulate to LeBron James, and understandably so. But are we capitulating based off of legacy or capitulating based off of right now?
Right now, you should not. Right now, you are adding him as a piece. You're not adding him as a finishing piece. I understand how great he is still at his age, but he's just not he's not the guy that you want to be Batman right now, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I'm necessarily trying to say he needs to be Robin, but he doesn't need to be the guy that's in that driving seat. So I'm like I said, I'm intrigued on where he goes, but there's only one real spot where I feel like he can make an actual difference.
Mm-hmm. And where do you think that is?
Philly. If they don't give up Embiid, I think he could be of great help. I think they would be able to figure it out. I think Jaylen Brown is somebody who is selfless enough, and I think he's got that chip on his shoulder to right now to where he just wants to win. I like what they have in Maxey. Embiid could be injured for all we know, so he wouldn't necessarily even be a factor. And then I think they just have a solid team. I'm not the Knicks is gonna be a tough
Hmm.
fight. It's gonna be a good battle. I don't know. Like I still, it's gonna be a tough fought series in whoever comes out of the West between OKC or San Antonio. But that's just how I feel right now. I feel like we've got about 4 contenders right now.
What if he goes to Denver?
Is Jokic and a older LeBron James because I would they be able to keep Jamal Murray?
Let's find out. Let's see where they are under the cap.
Because if they have to necessarily change that roster a bit much to get him, I don't like Jokic and LeBron as a duo having to overcome OKC and then San Antonio. That's why the West is where I'm trying to avoid having LeBron in. If I'm trying to
That's
actually,
fair. So they don't have a ton of cap space. They actually technically have a little bit of they're into the first apron, I think almost into the second apron, so they probably would have to give up somebody. But you could probably honestly you could probably trade Christian Brown and then no, Tim Hardaway already went to Miami. Okay, so you trade Christian Brown, you trade Cameron Johnson, and then you pick up DeMar DeRozan with a veteran minimum at LeBron James. Because the Christian Brown and Cameron Johnson would leave you 40 million, give you $40 million of cap space to get total. And then you pick up DeMar DeRozan as a backup guard, add in LeBron James to be your starting small forward, and you work from there. I mean, I'm not saying it would be ideal. It's definitely a win now move
yeah,
from the Nuggets, but all like something that Vinny Goodwill, shout out to Vinny, I don't know Vinny, but shout out to Vinny, said earlier, like today, he was like, every team that has a franchise player is on a clock. And Denver, yes, they won a championship, but you have a generational center in Nikola Jokic, who at any given day now, he might be one of those Iron Man type dudes who don't really give a fuck about basketball, like NBA basketball. He gives a fuck about Serbian basketball, as he should, and he gives a fuck about his horses and his family. Those are the three things Jokic cares about. This whole being an NBA player stuff is just kind of like a bonus, but he just happens to be elite at it. Right. So he could literally just decide one day, I'm done. And it would not retiring would not really he wouldn't need a retire, he wouldn't need a last dance sort of a year. He could just walk away and be content completely content, which is
Yeah.
dangerous because that means it's very hard to keep somebody like that if they're gone, they're gone. So you are on a clock. And Jamal Murray is getting further and further away from playoff riser, knocking out the Lakers, bubble Jamal Murray every single year. I love Jamal Murray, one of my favorite players in the league. He can still give you 50, as we have seen on some nights. But again, you're only going to get the overlapping prime of these two and of Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon has had a resurgence in Denver in a way that I think anybody anticipated outside of maybe him. So you are on a running clock. So if Denver were to make any moves, it would either be a rebuild or maybe a retool if it's the right retool, which is what I would consider with LeBron James, or you have to go all the way in. There's no real in between.
Let me ask you this. If he goes to Denver, how do you like that squad in the West?
Squad has probably the highest cumulative basketball IQ of almost any team in NBA history, which I think you can work with. I forgot who's their coach now. Oh, this is why we have Google, folks.
Yep.
David Adelman. Hmm. So so I think that squad can get to the Western Conference Finals. Whether or not they beat OKC with that squad, I am not sure. Simply because OKC is very tall and long, and they're athletic also. So like they would have to the Denver would have to make their game plan and slow the game down as much as possible,
Yep.
give them no turnovers, give them as few possessions as humanly possible, and we have to grind this thing out. We have to make the right basketball play 98% of the time, be able to make shots, make free throws, and we have to put Shea in an absolute torture chamber and then see what happens. I mean, that's what a lot of teams are doing, but I think that team has the ability to figure out how to do it. But I don't know if they have the legs and health to get all the way there.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know if they have the stamina to keep up with OKC, especially. San Antonio would be a challenge. We haven't mentioned them, but I just don't see that team making too much of a dent in the hierarchy up there.
Yeah, but also you got to, I mean, like, I say this to all the teams, you got to try something, right? Like 76 is like, hey, Jalen Brown, like, you can't just sit around and be like, well, those two teams are generational. We'll just be over here, right? You got to try something.
But it comes
And
down to LeBron. Would LeBron be will again? Would he be willing to? So
I mean, I think, like you said, he wants to get out of the West. I think he would want to. I think he sees his chance at getting back to the finals is significantly increased by getting out of the crucible that is the NBA Western Conference.
that being said, one name that I also saw mentioned, he was waived today. I wanted to mention him because I think he's somebody who can make a very quality addition to anybody's bench. DeMar DeRozan. The Kings waived him, so now he is a free agent. Where do you see him going?
I mean, couldn't almost every team in the league use a really good, athletic, veteran backup point guard?
To be honest,
like,
I
like
wouldn't mind him coming
what?
back to Chicago. Shit.
What if the Celtics signed him?
You know what? That would be making a most of a bad situation. It's not Jalen Brown, but Paul George and DeMar DeRozan. That's a pretty quality little substitute. So I like what
And and you're not gonna have to pay him a whole lot. You
he's
could do
going
it on one
somewhere.
year with the team option,
He's going somewhere where
right?
he
Like,
can play hoop.
hmm
He'll have a chance in the East. So I like that.
hmm
No, no, man. It's
Miami, maybe. Who's Miami's point guard?
somebody I've never heard of, to be honest. I know I was looking at their roster the other day, but he is not somebody I'm too familiar with at all.
I mean, you have Tim Hardaway Jr., but he's more of a shooting guard or a combo guard than a pure point guard. But it's so is DeMar DeRozan, but I feel like he's become more of a point guard in his as he reaches his veterancy. Yeah, I don't really know who's gonna play. I mean, Davion Mitchell, maybe, maybe. Again, I think a veteran point guard would do some good for that locker room.
Yeah.
Maybe recreate some 2000. What was that? 2000 and was that six championship? Was that 2006, 2008? I can't remember which year that
No,
was.
no, no.
I kind of
Oh 06. D Wade and
oh
Shaq
six.
06.
Mm-hmm. Like veteran point guard, and like when like you had the White Chocolates and the Gary Page of the world, and older superstar. Not saying Giannis and Shaq are the same at their ages, but older. But it's been like you can make it work. But then if DeMar DeRozan wants to get out of the West, Chicago could be interesting. Boston could be interesting.
He's got options. If there's
He
anybody
does,
else that I've heard of right now that's got options, it's definitely DeMar DeRozan.
especially at his price tag.
Right. You can get him at a nice price, and you know he's a quality player who's going to come in and give you some buckets.
And he's not going to cause any problems on or off the court.
Okay. Quick NFL news that I wanted to just take note of. I want to ask you, Cam, did you see that clip of Mike Vrabel going into the car on his way to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey's wedding? His
Yes.
wife was behind him. I know that's got to be awkward to be in the public eye with that man after everything. People were already giving him flack because he didn't hold the door open for her. There was a guy who was holding it, but he's not going to be able to win publicly for a while.
No.
He,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I did like, bro, that was a news story that never ended. It was crazy how much people wanted to see that man lose on.
It's rough. Like you get mollywopped in the Super Bowl. You try to get Stephon Diggs to your squad. You get AJ Brown to your squad, but it is all overshadowed. Even the Super Bowl loss is overshadowed by this. I'm going to call this a continuous lapse of judgment from Mike Rabel because I don't know the man to say that he did it maliciously. But my brother in Christ,
Crazy.
you understand. People are now looking at your relationship in a way they have never looked at your relationship ever before. Like you got to be holding doors, you got to be getting flowers, you got to be doing uh wedding anniversary, like reclamation of vows sorts of things in fancy places. Like, but I mean, only if his wife really wants that, I guess is the other thing, because like his wife is also a person in this that has agency and a say about how that relationship goes.
She
But
could be,
it's dipping into like
she
that
could be
phrase.
for the kids at this point.
That may be the case, like, because a divorce would definitely be more chaotic for the kids at this point than keeping it together, trying to hold it. And who knows? Who knows what their relationship dynamic is like? I'm not in that house, but it's getting to the point where a black woman will look at that and say, "Ooh, she's stronger than me," and we all know what that means.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. That's definitely going to be one of the funnier things to watch because he's going to be getting shit all NFL season. Every time,
Now,
honestly, not even when they go to opposing team stadiums, they're gonna be giving him shit in Gillette. So
mhm,
I'm intrigued
mhm.
by that to see how that plays out for him this season. Hopefully, he's able to keep his cool, not end up giving people too much shit for it. But hell, he's stronger than me for not going off on a couple of reporters there every now and then at this point because he's been getting hassled.
Him and Diana cannot be seen in the same zip code ever again. Like that's one of those like his wife is tracking her phone just to make sure that she's nowhere near.
Exactly.
Because some of those things, I'm like, are you sure your wife isn't your side and Don Rossini isn't your wife for real, for real? Because the way y'all looking at each other is
Yeah.
suspicious. Like, I understand friendships can be intimate. I understand this. But, like,
Nah,
alone together
that wasn't no friend.
at a hotel, looking at each other's eyes, holding both hands, whew,
It was romantic. Some
it was very romantic. I've seen weddings that were less romantically charged.
uh, but yeah, so Mike Vrabel, get it together, get everything in order, keep your cool because you about to be tested this upcoming season. Now,
Wait, before we,
what you want to talk about, Cam?
there's something I want to check before we move off NFL stuff. Okay, that's what I. So there's been some rumors about Shador Sanders being potentially traded out of Cleveland,
What?
with the Cowboys potentially applying some pressure. Now I asked this, or I posed this question: who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns this upcoming season, and who do you think it should be?
I'm gonna give you the answer of who it should be first because this is something that I'm gonna have a very strong opinion about. I am liable to start ranting as I go into my reasons why. It should be the Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders has the momentum, despite all of the media frenzy surrounding him, despite all of the nonsense and hoopla and the culture war that goes on surrounding his name and his image and everything, he at least showed promise last year. He did not appear to be, I'm not trying to say I think he's gonna go out and have a great season, but damn it, he showed a little bit of promise and he's given me enough to where I think I would rather him over your only other realistic option, which is Deshaun fucking Watson. Deshaun Watson, the same man who had over 20 sexual assault allegations levied against him, the same man who has looked like shit ever since he signed that contract with you and ever since he lined up and started the games that he started. This is the same guy that I believe they want to start, who I believe they are leaning towards. And if the reports that you are telling me now are to believe, that they are literally just ready to just probably already just hand it over to. I I don't understand why it's so hard for them to just admit it and take the L. I don't understand why they are choosing this when you were given an out last year. You were given an out. You have a quarterback on your roster who, honestly, I'd much rather have to deal with the attention and bullshit that Shador brings than any of the nonsense than that Deshaun Watson has had that has brought upon your franchise. I can't remember the owner of the Browns' name, but he's horrible. You are a terrible owner. The curse of Baker Mayfield is going to forever be upon the Cleveland Browns until they decide to do the right thing. And if they fuck over Shador Sanders by sending him over to the Dallas Cowboys, where he's not going to end up starting over Dak Prescott, unless
I mean, as if the as if Cleveland needed any more curses.
as if they needed any more. But I I'm I'm flabbergasted by this. I don't understand why they're still trying to make this shit with this guy happen. Let it go.
I mean, it's a $250 million of a mistake. You're trying to make it seem like it was reasonable, but
I
and
forget
let
he's
me
on the roster. I forget he's on the roster, and I think that's a good thing that they should embrace. You
he's
took
also had 3 catastrophic lower extremity injuries in the past 2
I didn't
years.
even need to mention that. Honestly, the PR shit is worse to
The
me.
PR I'm just yeah. Oh, I don't get me started on that particular thing,
But
but like it and to be clear, everyone, the rumor was that like the Cowboys wanted to trade for him, not that the Cleveland Browns wanted to trade him. But also, I don't understand why they have 4 quarterbacks in a quarterback room anyway. Because I think it's Deshaun Watson, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and a guy named Taylor Green. One of them is gonna have to be cut. I don't know who, and I just don't know who. I don't know what their plan is. I don't know who's getting the most. Oh, I have a feeling about who's getting the most first team reps. But like, also, you traded away Miles Garrett, and you got some stuff in return. Jared Verse is a fantastic defensive tackle,
I feel for him. I feel
but your defense was not your problem last year or the past X amount of years. Your defense, the Cleveland Browns defense is the only reason why I fear Baltimore Ravens versus Cleveland Browns games because that defense is absolutely locked in.
Yep.
And but the defense has never been their problem. Their quarterback play, their subpar quarterback play, and offensive construction has been their biggest Achilles heel. And you know what? Who I feel probably the worst for in this situation is Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy could have been an all-flight receiver. I'm not saying top 5, but potentially top 10 with his
Not had
talent,
his
his
chance.
tools.
Did he not have his chance in Denver?
Not really. Like sound like I'm gonna say not really.
Okay.
I'm gonna say not really.
I feel like he had his couple years out there where if he was going to show some promise, he should have shown some promise.
That's fair. And I think context has to come into play. That's fair. All I'm saying is just I don't know what the Cleveland Browns are doing. Those fans deserve better. That
They
city
do.
deserves better.
They
They've been
do.
wearing bags on their heads as long as I've been alive.
The only fan, like, at least Detroit is able to say that they've had successful eras. Cleveland has not really. The 90s were terrible. They've been terrible since they came back. The 80s are renowned for heartbreak and getting close and not being able to overcome the hump. It's just
They have Jim Brown.
they've got
That
Jim
is
Brown.
it.
That is
Now
it.
that's a lot, but it's also 50 years ago.
The only other franchise that's done worse is the Arizona Cardinals.
And Lucy Arizona Cardinals went up. Have the Browns been to a Super Bowl?
No, no. They're one of the few teams that haven't. Them, Jacksonville, Detroit.
In Houston.
Yeah.
But Houston, but also Houston and Jacksonville are newer.
Yeah,
Cleveland and
yeah,
Detroit,
yeah.
some of the oldest franchises in the league. But like Detroit's at least, I mean, at least Arizona's been to a Super Bowl. Arizona has one of the best wide receivers of all time. Shout out to Larry Fitzgerald.
Arizona
Like
was part of one of the best Super Bowls of all time. So
that Super Bowl was crazy. I still remember that to this day. Again, I feel so bad for Larry Fitz because that man has put everything. That this is one of those like too loyal situations. Like we praise so many athletes for staying with the same team through thick and through thin, whether it be Dirk, Kobe, Kim, Larry,
it's
Megatron.
almost crazy now that you say that. How many of them also came so close to almost requesting trades or wanting out? Because Kobe, remember, he wanted to go to Chicago.
He wanted to, and they were like, no. Like LA was like,
No,
no,
no, nigga, we're not gonna let you go there. What? No.
we're not letting you go anywhere. Like, what are you? You are confined to Los Angeles County. You can go to the Chicago street, but we ain't letting you.
D
You can go
Wade,
there for away games.
D Wade, and them wanted to sign to Chicago when they started the
Hmm.
three niggas
And it was gonna be them, D Wade, LeBron, and Melo, but
didn't want to get rid of Luau Dang.
which is even in hindsight, it sounds crazy. In the time, it also sounded crazy, but Luol Deng was hooping. So like
Luau Dang meant a lot to Chicago fans.
he did. There was like a
I've heard
4-month window where that was not a crazy thing. Like, oh yeah, we ain't giving up Luol Deng. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But lack of foresight. Lack of foresight. But it
would have been great. I remember. I remember. I thought that there was the chance was so real that when LeBron didn't choose us for that original decision, I got on Facebook and I got mad as fuck, and I called him a bitch. I was like, "You bitch ass nigga, LeBron James. Why did you?" Like I was heated. I remember one of my homies.
I never expected him to come to Chicago. I was like, he ain't coming here. Why would he go from
Hope
the winter back to more winter when he could go to Miami?
Chicago is one of those cities, though, man. It's one of those
It
basketball
is.
cities,
It's one of those basketball cities, but like
sports cities. Shit.
if we thought he was chasing Michael Jordan's ghost now, can you imagine the moment he put on a Chicago Bulls jersey? He would never be able to escape it, no matter how many championships he won. Like he would have to win 7 chips in Chicago, back to back to back to back to back to back. Like there would be no escaping it. So I understand him wanting to carve out his own legacy in a
Like if he
particular
lost
way.
1 year, it would have been like shit. Jordan didn't lose when he was in his prime.
Right. There would be every single like the pictures would be cool of him standing on with 23 above the Michael. Well, no, actually, he wouldn't be able to wear it because he's retired. But him standing, whatever number he chose, underneath the LeBron banner, all that would be great. Stacey King calls of LeBron James would be immaculate. But if you think about going into the psyche of LeBron James or any athlete, he would never, ever, if he ever put on a Chicago Bulls jersey for more than a day, be able to escape the specter of Michael Jordan. And so, like, why would you put even more pressure on yourself than you already have since you've been 17 when you could go to Miami, ball, be with your homie, have no state income tax? They've won 1 championship, and the best player in the franchise is still playing. So, like,
It made
you're not,
looking back, it made so much sense to go to Miami. It just made a whole lot. It was a smart move for him to do. I do think that it was necessary for his development, just for his psyche as a athlete. So I don't hold no grudges against it. I hate especially when you compare it to the way of somebody like KD did what he did and handled himself. LeBron has always been much more of a real one. So I've learned to appreciate him.
also, him and Jerry Krause would have gotten into physical fights.
Yeah,
I'm almost certain.
I forgot about that. Jerry Krause would.
Him and Jerry Krause would have got into physical fights. Pat Riley, at least you can like respect as both a person and a basketball mind, like from a variety of levels. Like you can't really say shit to Pat Riley because you're like, yeah, you're Pat Riley. That's right. Jerry Krause, though, you like,
Shut your ass up.
yeah, like, yeah, we can fight. Like I'm not, like I'm not above that. Like we can fight. That's fine. and that's not a conducive relationship. I think that's one of the reasons why Chicago doesn't really have like a star player since D Rose. Like they see Jerry Krause is like, why would I go play for him here
You just
like
made
this?
you just made me
Like
Tim, and now I hate. Now I feel pessimistic about the future again for as a Bulls fan.
I mean, like we shouldn't be pessimistic. We just have to be better developing our own talent. You're not letting them go like that. That's where it ultimately lands on.
True, but basketball talk.
How do
But
we even get there? Oh, I know exactly how, but
it's time we talk about the World Cup. We are literally recording this right after the U.S. has just lost in their match. Cam, I'm gonna pass it over to you. You've been paying more attention to the World Cup than me. Take it away, my man. Tell the audience about this World Cup stuff.
people. So let me start off with the context. Usually, the World Cup is 32 teams. This year, they expanded it to 48 teams, with a number of teams making their country's World Cup debut. Now, before we got here, people had critiques about this, like it's going to dilute the tournament. We're going to see a lot of trash games with bad teams going up against superior sides that were just going to make this unwatchable. Now, spoiler alert, that's not at all what happened. Spoiler alert, we got some of the best games we've ever seen in our lives. Okay. And now we got some of the best storylines, we got some of the best vignettes of players and countries and people that we have ever seen in a World Cup ever. Okay. We're like I don't even know how to explain how magical, how beautiful, and how just really heartwarming this World Cup is. And let's start with just some of the standout here. Cabo Verde, right, which is a small West African island country of around 500,000 people only, right? This is their first World Cup ever, and they were in a group with Spain, who has won multiple World Cups, Uruguay, who won the very first World Cup, and Saudi Arabia. Cabo Verde didn't lose a single game in that group.
Mm,
They either drew, I think they drew all three matches. Spain 0-0, I think Uruguay 2-2, and I think Saudi Arabia 0-0. They get out of the group stage, and then they play Argentina, who has, in case you've landed on the rock for who knows how many years, has Lionel Messi, probably the best soccer player of all time. Now, everyone expects this to be a wash, like an absolute, like you ain't got to watch it. Pencil in Argentina for 5 goals for 65 minutes. You can just check the highlights and go from there. That's not at all what happened. Cabo Verde took Argentina to the brink. There was a goal, and I believe late in the game, in the waning minutes, I think like 88-ish minutes, where I think Le Cabrales from Cabo Verde took a pass left side of the box, stops, dribbles with his right foot, goes back to his left, gets it back to his right, defender on his right hip, curls it in. We're now 2-2 in the 87th minute, going into overtime. And the only way Argentina escaped going to penalties against this team, which Argentina is historically not good at, is an own goal off of a set piece, which prevented the Argentinian side from being potentially knocked out via penalties from the smallest country to ever compete in the World Cup. And that's just one storyline. The goalkeeper of Cabo Verde went from having 54,000 followers on Instagram to having 19.8 million followers on Instagram because of
damn.
his performance in the World Cup. It was at 11 before he left the stadium after the first game against Spain, where he had a clean sheet. Spain did not score. So you have them. You have Germany losing their first penalty shootout since 1952.
Second, just want
Mm-hmm.
hold your thought because I don't want you to lose your track. I'm sorry.
Oh
That
no, you're good.
that is insane. I always
Mm-hmm.
think about how big we think of sports like the NFL and like how big the Super Bowl is supposed to be. the World Cup has really blown it out of proportion in terms of how much bigger football, like real football, is compared to American football. So,
You wanna know how many followers he has right now? 19 was too low. Guess how many?
how many?
27.4 million. That is 13 times the size of his country, the population.
That's
So if you ever doubt, like soccer's not big in America, but you can rest assured it's big everywhere else. And now there are clamorings of him being signed by bigger clubs, whether it be Inter Miami, whether it be Manchester United, et cetera, et cetera. Because he's also been like a semi-pro footballer, which means he also did other jobs like bus driver, electrician,
he's not
plumber.
gonna need to do any of that no more.
And yet he came out to the World Cup, his country's first and potentially only World Cup, and balled out so hard he dectupled plus more his Instagram following. He played so well, he got diplomats to get his mom a visa to come to the US to watch him play. He single-handedly reshaped foreign policy for an individual person because of how well he did and how popular soccer is.
I'm gonna
And
let you
that's only one storyline. I'm sorry, go ahead.
that no, I'm gonna let you continue. I just wanted to say one more time. That shit is crazy, y'all.
You have Haiti being in, I think, their first World Cup since the 70s, right? Having to, I can't remember who they beat, but they scored a extra time goal to even qualify for the World Cup. And if you know anything about what Haiti is going through right now, earthquakes, crime, a blockade that's preventing a lot of uh, goods and resources getting to that island, and yet they're still able to put up in my opinion, a heart-filled World Cup performance. You have Germany, the powerhouse of soccer that Germany has been, losing their first penalty shootout since 1952 to Paraguay. Paraguay knocking them out of the tournament in penalties, I believe, in Mexico City. You have Erling Haaland, he could have played for Britain. I think he was born in Britain, but he has Norwegian descent. He played for England, excuse me. He has scored, I think, 7 goals in just as many games in this World Cup for his country's first World Cup. He is on the path to potentially breaking the single World Cup goal record in his first World Cup ever. Then you have Kylian Mbappe having broken the the World Cup goal record that was set by Lionel Messi. I think that this is only Kylian Mbappe's second World Cup, second World Cup ever. He's already broken the record. Then you have teams like Democratic Republic of Congo putting up fantastic performances, Croatia and Luka Modric putting up fantastic performances. And this World Cup has been so historic. People have come out of retirement. You have Ochoa from Mexico almost coming out of retirement essentially to play goalkeeper for Mexico. Manuel Neuer coming out of retirement to play goalkeeper for Japan. You have just so many storylines from Brazil being knocked out by uh who they just played yesterday.
No, I saw that one. Wasn't it England?
Uh
I don't know. It wasn't England.
why why Norway? Erling Haaland knocked them out of the tournament.
I was actually
You
surprised by Brazil because in my ignorance, I'd only like one thing I'd always known about Brazil is that they were really good, and I always bet on them when it came to soccer. I was picking them if it was.
I mean, historically, for the past like 40 years, you would be right. There have been a lot of things that have made that a not as sure of a bet as you would think in recent times. But you had Mexico versus England in Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, with Mexico going on a fantastic run that ultimately ended, unfortunately, in defeat this past Sunday. You just have so many storylines and feelings and emotions. And something that I've been thinking about is there's a reason why Americans get so hyped about the Olympics. Because it's one of the few times where we feel like our national pride is attached to a sport or sporting event in a way that we just don't have for soccer, at least for men's soccer. Women's soccer does have that. The U.S. women's national team are just juggernauts. Like there's like them, Spain, and everybody else. And but maybe the French women's national team now in the years. But it's those three teams, and truly everybody else is shooting for fourth or if not fifth. But there's something about watching people from all over the world gather together, whether it be Mexico City, Toronto, New York, Houston. And I was talking about this with somebody from Spain the other day, and they said, like, yeah, like your club, like people, you can see it. They look happier playing for the country. They look more invigorated, look more impassioned because like your club is your job, right? That's how you pay the bills. That's how you make sure your lights stay on. You do that out of necessity, but you play for your club out of love and passion. And so like the soccer you see is just it's artistic, it's creative, it's forceful, it's full of vigor and life in a way that just regular MLS club soccer just is not. Like there have maybe only been two or three games throughout the entire tournament that I just thought were just duds. Personally, they probably weren't duds. Some people were splitting those teams, but there have only been a few games where I'm like, this is one of those times that you can't just look at the score at the end and be like, oh, okay, I know what happened. No, you have to watch the games, the chances, the tension, the expectation hanging in the air, the emotion. People are frequently crying on the pitch after a game because they're like, this is because remember, people, World Cups only happen every 4 years, and you have to qualify. That's the reason why countries like in Italy and China and India and other places aren't there because you have to qualify, right? Even with 48 teams, you still have to qualify. You may not make it to go back to the World Cup in 4 years. This may be your only shot. And that's if you're healthy. That's if you make the team. And that's if the team is good enough to qualify, right? Like, this is like March Madness every 4 years.
Except this is like on a global scale.
And it's on like people who don't know, who may not have known where Houston was on a map are watching these games at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 2 a.m., right? People are emptying their savings to go watch some of these games because, again, if you're Cabo Verde, for example, how do you know if your country's ever going to get back to the World Cup again? Like that's like saying, oh, Butler in Indiana had a few good March Madness runs and that's it. You may never get back. This is not one of those situations where like, oh yeah, with the expanded format, we'll make it. Was this any other? No, like nothing is promised in this, which is why a few years ago when Argentina won their most recent World Cup, people were like, the only thing that's missing on Messi's trophy case is an international trophy, and that's the thing that means the most to him. He can win all the Ballon d'Ors, all the Golden Boots, all these accolades that are personal and club, all these champions, like, but it doesn't matter really, truly, unless you win a World Cup. That has been the piece de resistance of every single, or not every single, but all the players that we see as goats of soccer, whether you Pele, whether you oh my God, why is my brain? Oh, I this
You're saying all,
Maradona,
but you're saying all.
right? Like
I
all
mean,
the greats, Pele, Maradona, all the people, or so many of the people that we see as like in that upper echelon, what we describe as like the back room of the Hall of Fame, like in football sense, right? That Jordan, Kobe, Bron tier of players have won on the international level, and that is the line of demarcation between you being an elite player and you being a once in a lifetime sort of a player. And that's why people look at Neymar with a certain amount of disappointment. He had the talent, he had the potential, he had the resources, and he just hasn't been able to get his team over that hump. Not saying it's easy, because you have juggernauts like Argentina and France, but that also to say from the same token, you have Kylian Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, Cherki in the France squad, which looks like OKC in 2024 right now. In 2025, like they look like absolute monster.
every time I've had a conversation and I've asked like who the real favorite is, they're the clear pick. It's France. They just look like better than everybody, and apparently they're just that damn good.
So the starting 11 is here. Their second 11 set of players could probably also beat half the teams that qualify for the knockout stage. That's how deep their team is. They have world-class midfielders coming off the bench getting here nigga damn minutes. Like, yeah, sure. You keep bagging here. Take some of these minutes real fast, right? Like, and this is I'll wrap it up in the next couple minutes. I don't want to ramble, but one, if you are not watching the World Cup yet, Go back and watch some of these extended highlights. Yes, they're long, but you'll see like the tension, the beauty. It's like watching an NBA playoff game, but the clock never stops. It's the creativity, the tension, the artistry, the real athleticism. In some cases, you can even see jump off the screen in a second. If Kylian Mbappe wins his second World Cup, I think how old is Kylian Mbappe? I think he's like 23.
Damn.
He's 27. No, he's 27. He's 27. He's 27. I mean, not sure. But if he wins his second World Cup before 30, we will need to start having some very interesting conversations about where he ranks amongst all timers at 27 with 2 World Cup victories as the best player on those teams. And hold on, I want to check something. I mean, the main thing that we haven't really seen from him was just an unfortunate lack of club success with PSG and then now Real Madrid, in a certain sense. But like, if he gets the second World Cup before the age of 30, um,
It's hard to compete with that.
it we're gonna have to start saying like, is he really who we thought some of these other players were in terms of his value both to his country, to his club, his quality? Like they're just recent conversations will need to be had that probably still need to be had regardless, but will definitely need to be had if he leads France to a second World Cup. Now you may say, oh, he has a super team, this, that, and the other. Like, yeah, that's true. He does have a super team, but you still gotta put the ball in the back of the net. Like, at a certain point, like we've seen people get knocked out before who thought were super teams. Shoot, Portugal almost got knocked out the other day by Congo. Portugal did get knocked out today by Spain, right? Argentina almost got knocked out by Cabo Verde, right? Like there's people say like yes, there's something to be said about Germany got knocked out in the groups, like in the knockout stage by Paraguay. Like there's something to be said about having a super team. Fair. But again, this is one of those situations where you got to watch these games, folks. Some of these games aren't as clear, cut, and dry as you think they are, in such a way that anybody can get got, because all it takes is one lucky goal. One person is right where they need to be. It's it's weird because the stakes are is it like it's played as if it's basketball on grass in terms of the speed, the athleticism, the nuances, but their chances are more like baseball,
Mm.
right? Like you may get 1 or 2 good pitches to hit in your 3, maybe 4 at bats, and you have to absolutely obliterate them and take advantage of them, or you will not win. And that's something I've seen from country after country after country after country. They are not. It's really a killer instinct. I've seen like the Congo, Ivory Coast, um, Senegal. Oh, Senegal choked the game away. Oh, they should have beaten Belgium easily. They were up 2-0 going into the 85th minute. They gave up 2 goals in a span of 3 to 4 minutes, end up losing to a penalty goal shot by Belgium in the 119th minute, right before penalties were about to work, because they took their foot off the gas. So many countries don't realize you cannot, because these teams are fighting for their lives, for their nations, for the people that, for their cousins, their mothers,
It
their
don't
fathers, their uncles.
this don't sound like the situation the way you described it where you would even like have that thought cross your mind to take the foot off the gas.
Well, because like once you're in it, you're just kind of in the flow of things. And if you slow down, you're trying to milk time, you may not think of it like that. But like that's why the managers needs to be better at putting the fire onto these people's booty cheeks. Because like these people are fighting for their nation, not just their lives, for their soul. You have to put them into the ground and bury them, or else good people, they will find something in them to try and dig themselves out of the hole. And if you let them, you will pay for it. Look look at Senegal and Belgium. Look at Congo and Portugal. Look at so many other teams that let teams back into it. Look at the Spurs and the Knicks, right? Like
It's a
when
secret.
somebody wants it more, when you think somebody wants it just as much as you, when you have them ahead, you have to make them think they can't, that that's not possible.
Facts.
You have to bury it. Period.
Big facts.
Like you're playing. The stakes are too high. The stakes are too high. All that to say, the World Cup is fantastic. I know soccer is not a popular sport in America. I understand,
You've done a
but
good job of making me wanna watch. I'm gonna need you to send me some of these extended highlights because I definitely wanna get my knowledge up. You've got me
I
to watch it.
I will. And the reason why I say watch the games, people, is like there are certain moments that even if you aren't a soccer fan, you'll know, oh, that was different. That was unique. That was special. The Cabo Verde goal in the 94th minute is one of them. The Haaland goal against uh, Brazil in the what was that? The 79th and then 90th minute are two of those moments. There are certain moments where you don't even need to know a lot about soccer to know that you're watching something genuinely great, and I don't want y'all to miss it because this is a World Cup on American soil. The energy, the vibes are fantastic. I just don't want you to miss it because we're seeing certain players that people know, like Messi, Ronaldo, Ochoa, aren't going to be around. They're like the LeBron James and Steph Curry of soccer, right?
For real.
They're elite, they're great, but they won't be around forever. Shoot, this was Ronaldo's last World Cup ever. He's retiring after today, after he got beat today by Spain. So like all these people that you know and have heard of, this is some of their last dances, and they're gonna go out with a bang. And so I don't want you all to miss like once in a generation players really putting it all on the line to try and bring our country something. Because like if your country wins a World Cup, but it's not usually winning one, every people will tell their grandchildren about it, their great grandchildren. People have that in their wills, in their houses, on their gravestones. And it's something that I think it's hard to, and I'm rambling, so I'm going to end it with this. Something that I think is hard to really communicate to an American audience that we don't really have like a national sport. Like football is it, but a lot of people are just not like. There are people who don't watch soccer, who don't watch club soccer, but will watch national team soccer religiously, right? There's just a different vibe to it,
Yeah.
right? It's not the same. Like baseball used to be that in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Football may have been that in the 70s and 80s. Basketball's never really been that, right? It's hard to impress upon people just being able to put yourself into immortality in your entire country is a rare and singular achievement. That's what these men are fighting for. That's what they're trying to hold in their hands. And you see the blood, the sweat, the tears, the jubilation that erupt when those moments arrive. And it's something that in the state of the world now, we should not take for granted that people still give a damn about things
Mm,
that are bigger than them, that are still willing to sacrifice for things that are bigger than them. And a lot of these, like some of these players, they may get paid, but usually they donate those winnings. They're like, no, I want to play for my country. I don't care if I have to do it for free. I don't care if I have to hurt my body in the process. I don't care if I have to play injured if I can, right? You see it, these players give a damn. And that's
want it.
one of the things I don't want you all to miss. It's been a joy. It's been absolutely fantastic. And sorry that I rambled, but this World Cup has just been spectacular. I have
Do not
nothing else. Like it's
don't apologize, Kim, because you just got me hyped up. I wanna go turn on some fucking World Cup right now. Like, so no, you did your thing right there. I'm hyped. Now, the last thing
I'll send you some of it.
before we finish up with the soccer topic, who do you think is gonna win, and who is a dark horse that people should pay attention to out of the teams that are left?
Uh, this is one of those like I hate to say it, but France are definitely the favorites. Dark horse, Norway. Norway with Erling Haaland and that team. He looks like Super Boo if you know what Dragon Ball Z is.
I know who that guy is then, because I've seen
Yeah,
all the memes about him.
yeah, but he's like a white Cam Chancellor in bodybuilding height and athleticism. But that man knows how to score. So I think France is probably the favorite, especially in the field that's left. I mean, Morocco could give them a run for their money. and then you have the random Switzerland, Colombia, Argentina, Egypt combination is going to be there later. But I think France is the favorite, Norway being the dark horse, and I think if if Norway beats if Argentina wins whatever match that they end up in, and they end up in the quarterfinal, and if Norway also gets there, and if Norway beats Argentina, I think Norway has a good chance of winning the whole thing. But that's if they get there.
All right. Well, we are pretty much at everything that we had to talk about today, Cam. So, with all that said, is there anything else you want to say to the people?
And make sure to enjoy this weather,
Yes,
drink water, and really remember to love the people around you.
that's beautiful. And that's some real shit right there. Um, I could just piggyback what he just said, y'all. Make sure that you love the people around you. Enjoy this weather. It is nice as hell outside. I keep looking outside my window and I just see nothing but sunshine and brightness. And it's like about to be 8:30 and the sun is still shining. So
It's out. Like the sky's still very blue. It's ridiculous.
it's the days like this that I always be just thinking about in the middle of winters and Decembers and shit when it's just dark as hell, extra early, and you in the house all it's cold. So enjoy this weather, y'all. Enjoy the good times. Life is crazy right now, as we have discussed, as y'all have heard on some of these other episodes I'm releasing everything. But you have to find that time to care about things that are bigger than yourself, enjoy things in this world, in this life. And that's one thing that I have enjoyed about the World Cup because it's like you said, bro, people have been caring about this. People have been getting emotional. I've been seeing motherfuckers coming to my job and everything from all over the world. People who ain't never bowled before, but they just there because they want to see some World Cup and they want to do something while they're doing it. And that's been fun and that's been cool to see. So I just want to I hope that that energy continues. I hope that people continue to have a good time with it. It's been good vibes. I don't know. The World Cup has never felt this big and this like just well.
The vibes are immaculate.
I'm loving it. I don't know what it is about this one. Maybe it's because this is the first time it's been in America and as long as I can remember. And you know what? This is the first time we've really been this exposed to it, but I'm sort of just getting that itch. I need to start covering soccer more. I need to start getting more into it. Hell, I might start talking about the MLS. But
Counterpoint, if you want to cover soccer, take a moment, watch some what they call the Premier League. It's in England. Watch like just find a team that resonates with you. It'll happen. Like just kind of just watch a few highlights, some players. We can root for the Sounders, but MLS is that's gonna be over here for a moment. Watch Premier League, watch La Liga, watch the Bundesliga, which is the leagues in England, Spain, and Germany, respectively. Find a team that you really resonate with, and then kind of go from there. Because I think that's a good way to like once you can get like emotionally invested to a team, it's a lot easier to kind of navigate. Because if you're just watching people play soccer, you're like, I don't care about none of these dudes. But
you saying
so
I
like
can watch where the real stars is at.
yeah, 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 yeah. Watch like not saying the MLS is not high level soccer, but like
They have Beckham at
those leagues have more consistently high levels of high level soccer. I'll say that.
but with all that being said, y'all, you already know the deal. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. If it's on YouTube, make sure you hype the video as well so you boost us in the algorithm. But aside from that, just do all that stuff so that you can help boost us wherever you are listening to us at and help make expand our reach to people all across the world. But with all that being said, I'm starting to ramble myself. So we just want to tell y'all we hope y'all continue to be good people. Continue to have a wonderful day. Continue to have a wonderful week. We love you over here at Kinetic Aesthetic. This is Cam. This is Jerm. We out.
Yeah.